Hi, I am Antaryami and welcome to my channel. In this video, I will explain some of the ecology questions from the previous CSIR NET questions. So let's start. In this video, I used the questions from primary production, species interaction, energy flow in ecosystem, which is in continuation with my previous video. So let's start with questions from part B. So first question is, an example of species interaction called commensalism is. So commensalism suggests the interaction where one species getting benefit whereas another species not even getting harm or getting any benefit. So the correct option among these four is the fourth one, where orchid plant growing on the trunk of mango tree. In this kind of interaction, orchid plant is getting the benefited whereas mango tree neither get harm or get any benefit. So second question is, what is the significance of upwelling zone for marine ecosystem? So upwelling zone in marine ecosystem particularly they have important because they recycle the nutrients from the benthic zone to the surface where there is a PAR is high, that is photosynthetically active radiation is high. And this recycling of nutrient along with the high PAR, it will help in the increase in the primary productivity of the upper surface. So the correct answer for this question is, it brings nutrient from the deeper zone to relatively nutrient poor ocean surface, thus increasing marine productivity. So the next question is, to understand prey-predator relationship, Didynum predator and paramecium prey were used. Paramecium population was grown with sand sediment as hiding place or refuge. To this population, Didynum was introduced only once. What would happen to the prey population in the course of time? So, paramecium is a prey which particularly uses sand as the hiding place. So, it has the ability to avoid the predation. So if Didynum, which is a predator, if it will only introduce only once, then definitely the population of the prey will decreases, but it will not going to be vanish because it have the ability to hide. So the correct option for this question is the option third, where the population will initially decrease then increase and stabilize because it has the ability to hide itself from the predator. So the next question is, given below in column A are schematic representation of three types of pairwise species interaction and the name of some interactions are in column B. So in column A, option A, we can see that A and B are directly interacted as there is a solid line and minus sign indicate there is a competition. So if both the species have direct interaction or directly compete with physical touch involved, then this kind of competition is known as interference competition. In option B, in column A, we can see that A and B are not directly interacted, but they feed on a common resource. So they compete for the resource. And if two species which are not directly related but they feed on a same resource, then this kind of competition is known as exploitation competition. In option C, we can see that A and B, in this case also they are not directly related but they have a common herbivore or they have a common predator. So when A or B, any species will increase in its density, it will also increase the density of herbivore, which ultimately affects the another species density. So this kind of interaction is known as apparent competition. So A is interference competition, B is exploitation competition and C is apparent competition. So the correct option is third, that is A2, B4 and C1. Next question is from part C. So a small lake has three trophic levels: phytoplankton, which are autotrophs, zooplankton, herbivores, and planktivorous fish, which are primary carnivore. Into this lake, a population of piscivorous fish, which is secondary carnivore, was introduced to study the top-down effect. Top-down effect means the upper level carnivores or the upper level organism, they affect the population of the below levels tropic level organism. So what is the expected long-term consequence of such introduction to phytoplankton and zooplankton tropic levels? So we can start with the option 1, that is zooplankton biomass will increase and phytoplankton biomass will decrease. If we can see that the secondary carnivore is a piscivorous species which feeds on the primary carnivore. So in that case, if primary carnivore population will decreases, then ultimately the zooplankton biomass will increases. If zooplankton biomass will increase, then automatically it will feed on more phytoplankton and phytoplankton biomass will decrease. So option 1 is the correct answer for this question. So we don't need to proceed further. So next question is, given below is a matrix of possible interaction. Beneficial shows plus sign, harmful shows minus sign, neutral shows 0 between species 1 and 2. The names of interaction A, B, C, D respectively are. So we have to choose the correct answer. So if we start with the option 1, so A, B, C, D. So A is predation. If we can see that here both minus sign is there, so species 1 also have minus, species 2 also have minus. So in predation, one species getting benefited whereas another species getting harmed. So but in this condition both species are getting harmed, that's why it is the option 1 is not correct. So in option 2, it is not even mutualism because species A in both the cases it is harmed. So the correct answer is either 3 or 4. So 3 is yes, A is competition. Then we can see the B as predation. Yes, B is also can be possible as predation because one species getting benefit and another is getting harmed. C is mutualism. Mutualism means when both the species getting benefited. So here the C is the mutualism and both species 1 and species 2 getting the benefit. So it is a mutualism. And D is the commensalism. Commensalism means one getting not benefited, not harmed, whereas another species only getting harmed. So yes, the option D is commensalism, which is correct for the option 3. So 3 is the correct answer. Next question is, two lakes 1 and 2 with similar trophic structure of phytoplankton, zooplankton, planktivorous fish food chain were chosen. To understand the top-down effect, some piscivorous fish were introduced into lake 1, making it a system with 4 trophic levels. So lake 2 was enriched by adding large quantity of nitrates and phosphate to study the bottom-up effect over the period of time. Changes in biomass of each trophic level were measured. So the expected major changes in the 2 lakes are, so we have to study the options and decided which option will be correct one. So in option 1, we can see that in lake 1, zooplankton biomass increases and phytoplankton biomass decreases. So we can interpret our result with this as in lake 1, we can see that piscivorous fish or planktivorous fish were introduced. So piscivorous fish were introduced which feeds on the its upper planktivorous fish. So planktivorous fish will decreases. So in lake 2, zooplankton biomass increases. As planktivorous fish biomass will decrease, then automatically zooplankton biomass will increase and phytoplankton biomass will decrease. So option 1, this first line is the correct one. So we can proceed to lake 2. In lake 2, both phytoplankton and planktivorous fish biomass increases. So we have to analyze. We can see that in lake 2, it was enriched by adding large quantity of nitrates and phosphate to the study bottom-up effect. So if we add large quantity of nitrates and phosphate, then automatically the phytoplankton biomass will increase, and if phytoplankton biomass will increase, it also affect the population of the zooplanktons. So zooplankton biomass will also increase, and in return the planktivorous fish biomass will also increase. So option 1 is the correct answer here. In next question, we can see that in a field experiment, autotrophs are provided a radio-labeled 14C carbon compound for photosynthesis. Radioactivity of 14C level were then monitored at regular interval in all trophic level. In which ecosystem is the radioactivity likely to detect fastest at the primary carnivore level? This is a question associated with the ecological efficiency. As in aquatic ecosystem, the ecological efficiency is higher, that means most energy is transferred fastest in the aquatic ecosystem as compared to terrestrial ecosystem. So the option 2, 3, 4 is incorrect here, as these are the terrestrial ecosystem, whereas one is open ocean, which is a aquatic ecosystem, and in this ecosystem the energy transfer is going to be fastest. So the radioactivity likely to be detected fastest at the primary carnivore level in the open ocean. Next question is, the approximate P/B ratio, that is net primary production is to biomass ratio in 4 different ecosystem ABCD are: A 0.29, B 0.042, C 16.48, D 8.2. So it is given the net primary production by biomass ratio. So the net primary production by biomass ratio is always higher in ocean, because the biomass in the ocean or biomass in the aquatic ecosystem of primary producer are less as compared to their net primary productivity efficiency. So the option C must be belong to a aquatic ecosystem. Similarly, those ecosystem who have higher biomass and less net primary productivity have the lowest net primary productivity by biomass ratio. So we can analyze the option. We can see that in option C there is a terrestrial ecosystem. So option 1 is not correct. In option 2 and option 4 there are aquatic ecosystems. So one of these two is the correct answer. Now we have to analyze for the other options. So if we can see, the primary productivity in lake is next as compared to the ocean, or it is in aquatic ecosystem it is more. So we can see that in option 2 C and D are belongs to aquatic ecosystem. So option 2 is the correct answer as compared to the option 4. As A and B, they are terrestrial and they have low P/B ratio, whereas C and D have higher P/B ratio and are aquatic. In next, 3 species M, N and O, when grow independently in laboratory, show typical logistic growth curves. However, when grown in pairs, the following growth curves were observed. So this diagram shows the interaction among M and N, M and O and N. So we can interpret the results from the options. What interpretation regarding the interspecific relationship between M, N and O can be deducted from the above observation? So first option, in the first figure we can see that N is unable to predate on M, because with increase in population of N there is also increase in the population of M. In figure 2 also there is increase in both M and O. So N is not a predator of O or M. So N is competed out by M and O. We can see that N is not competed out by M and O, because whenever in this we can see that after reaching certain level N, the density of N is decreased, whereas in another, the third figure, we can see that it is inversely proportional. That is, when O is increasing, N is decreasing. When N is increasing, then O is decreasing. So that is not competitive exclusion, but there is a type of competition, or there is a kind of prey-predator interaction is going on, as there is no competitive exclusion. So N and O possibly have a prey-predator relationship. Yes, we can see from the third figure that they have a prey-predator relationship, because when there is a higher number of O, it will also lead to increase in N and decrease in O. Then when there is a decrease in O, then also it will lead to decrease in N. Similarly, these are interrelated. So this is a types of prey and predator relationship. So option 3 is the correct answer here. The next question is, complete the following sentence with the most appropriate option. Global analysis of large number of plant species traits shows that with increasing lifespan, we can see that there is an increase in woody biomass production and there is a decrease in leaf biomass production. So it will ultimately associated with decreasing the leaf nitrogen. So decreasing the leaf nitrogen also associated with decreasing the net photosynthetic rate. So in option 3 we can see that the both leaf nitrogen as well as net photosynthetic rate is decreases, and increasing the leaf lifespan also decreases the specific leaf, increasing specific leaf area. So the option 3 is the correct answer here. So thank you for watching this video, and please like and subscribe my channel for further informational videos regarding preparation of CSIR NET and also regarding ecological concepts. Thank you.